and it looks like there's some activity. Once again, we did know from Darius they were using some sort of pepper ball earlier. You see smoke right now. There is definitely a scuffle there, some sort of smoke. I don't know if it's what exactly that is from. You can see that officer just chasing someone away. Now, of course, that group is blocking that vehicle, which it's an act of civil disobedience, but that also is not something that protesters are supposed to be able to do or allowed to do. So those agents were trying to get that vehicle through. There was that commotion. You do see some smoke. We haven't seen anybody at this point moved by an agent except for that one scuffle. Darius Johnson has been up. Agents are taking someone into the facility. That is a second protester. Let's check in with Darius Johnson, who's been on the ground there all morning long. Darius, what can you tell us about how this started?
Hey, Lou, get the shot inside of the facility. They have someone on the ground. If you're able to see that person, they're closing the gate right now. There's a person on the ground being held on the ground by those ICE agents. And look, if you pan over right now, Lou, let's see right here with the vehicle. They are plowing through the protesters right here at this vehicle. They've tried to deploy everything that they could as these protesters were trying to block agents from moving in and out. They have another man. They are just deploying anything that they can to try to get the protesters out of the way. Dana, give me 1 second as I put my mask on because they just sprayed chemical agents again. Okay. So right now, this is what we have been seeing. This has been one of the tensest moments this morning. What just happened right now? You had vehicles that were trying to make its way out. Dana, I'm actually going to move away from the camera now that the smoke is
Darius,
now impacting my eyes.
You need to get away from that smoke. Please, we appreciate your reporting. Get away from that smoke.
I'm back near the vehicle, Dana. I'm near the vehicle. I have a mask on. I'm okay. So basically, every time that people are pulling out, they are blocking the vehicles from getting in and out. At this point, what we saw this time was the agents on top of the roof. They started, Lou, you need to get something on your eyes.
Sorry, it's very important.
Dana, let me send it back to you. We're going to hold the shot.
Yes.
We just need to protect our eyes right now.
Yes.
Yes. Give us 1 second so we can just get our bearings straight.
It is a very fluid scene and right now a very volatile scene on the ground outside the Broadview ICE Facility in that west suburb. Darius Johnson's been on the ground all morning. The agents have deployed some sort of chemical, some sort of smoke that Darius was just saying was an irritant to his eyes. Our photographer, Lou Kleinberg, out there on the scene too. As they wisely did, they have moved away from that smoke in that area to try to protect their eyes, to try to get protection on. We are told as reporters in the field, we should have protective gear just in case a scene like this becomes volatile, which it has this morning. There have been flare-ups like this over the past about almost 2 hours now, a little more than 2 hours perhaps. As Darius was just mentioning and as you saw just a few minutes ago, when that apparent federal vehicle was trying to leave that gated area right there, these federal agents did try to escort the vehicle out into the crowd the protesters trying to block it. That is when there was some sort of scuffle between an agent and an individual, and that is when that chemical agent perhaps or whatever caused that smoke was deployed to help that vehicle come through. And as I mentioned, we did see federal agents bring another protester to our count right now, a second protester inside the gates of that federal facility. Right now, our photographer Lou Kleinberg has focused in on the source of that smoke. Obviously, that is not the source of the smoke right now, but it was a silver canister that said riot something on it. I couldn't read the rest of it. There we go. It said riot. Hard to see because obviously there's a lot of people taking a look at it in front of our camera, understandably. I can't quite make it out because of the glare, but that was what federal agents just a few minutes ago deployed releasing smoke to try to disperse the crowd of at least several dozen protesters that were gathered and have been gathered outside that Broadview ICE facility now for the past 3.5, almost 4 hours. It again resulted in a scuffle between a federal agent and one other protester as this was happening. A federal vehicle attempting to leave those gated areas was being blocked by the protesters, and that is when, again, that federal agents released the agent from that canister to try to disperse the crowd. Darius Johnson, who did wisely get out of the way of that smoke to try to protect himself, is ready to kind of give us more from what he is seeing and hearing on the ground right now. But of course, Darius, safety first. But what is happening right now, Darius?
Hey there, Dana. Excuse me. I just had to get to the car for a minute. My eyes are burning right now, and we had to put on masks, and I was trying to make sure our photographer was good. Again, what we are seeing, take a look. You can see protesters lying on the ground as a result of those chemical agents that were deployed. Again, what we continue to see, I just want to break this down for you all, as these vehicles try to move in and out, protesters are using their body as a shield to prevent people, the agents, from getting in and out with their vehicles. Every time they do that, that's where agents are ready to deploy pepper balls, deploy tear gas, anything that they have to be able to try to get the protesters out of the way. At this moment right here, you had a vehicle trying to get out, and this was the thickest crowd that we've had all morning, upwards of at least about 100 people. They were blocking that vehicle from getting out. As soon as they opened that gate, the agents were ready with those guns that had pepper balls and that had all of these different chemical agents to be able to deter the crowd once again. On the roof, they started to deploy those chemical agents as the vehicle started to plow through the crowd of protesters. Those protesters were on top of that vehicle. They were not moving, they were holding the line, and those on the roof, the agents on the roof, continued to try to shoot off those chemical agents to ensure that vehicle could get through. That didn't happen. That's when they kept deploying tear gas to try to get people out of the way. Go ahead, Dana, I'm listening.
So, Darius, I just want to make sure to clarify, you saw firsthand and heard firsthand the agents on the roof deploying some sort of pepper ball or some sort of projectile trying to disperse the crowd?
Yes, I watched them with my own eyes. That was at the point where I grabbed the mic and I started talking and I asked them to bring my mic up. We were watching them from the roof start to shoot down into the crowd as the vehicle was making its way out, because essentially the agents on the ground were outnumbered by the sheer amount of protesters and demonstrators who are here.
We know, that this has been a heated series of protests, Darius. First of all, how are you doing right now? And how are the protesters who, got the chemical in their eyes doing, especially that one person we saw on the ground? They were trying to flush her eyes with some sort of water, saline, which I don't think is the best thing you're supposed to do. I think you're supposed to use milk, but that's a whole other issue. How is everybody doing? Are you okay?
I'm good now. I'm trying to make, Lou, are you good? Good. Okay, our photographer Lou Kleinberg was brave enough to continue shooting. He had his glasses on. I had to run to my vehicle to get my glasses. We had masks, but we were not prepared for the irritant to start to hit our eyes. They've been handing out water to people, but of course I know that milk needs to be used. So it was just at a point where I got to my vehicle and I kind of wrapped a jacket around my head to not rub my eyes or anything, just to try to keep them from watering and try to recover them. Still watering. Trying to get my bearings together, but obviously this is a very volatile situation and we want to ensure that we are bringing everything to you all as to what is happening in real time. Again, that was probably the most, that was the most intense clash that we've had all morning long. That was the height of it. And right before that, Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton had just left, who we were hearing from. So this is what we are dealing with. This is what we are experiencing. That protester that you mentioned, I believe, is still on the ground, still being tended to. She is now sitting up, but still sitting on the ground.